Welcome to my channel. The Musician's Gift Vertical Bar episode number 2, title of the video.
I couldn't put the violin down.
Every note was perfect, every melody was otherworldly, the audience was mesmerized. Fame came instantly, but at night the whispers grew louder.
Help me please, he's watching.
Leo tried to ignore them. He tried to convince himself it was just in his head. Until during a sold-out performance, his fingers moved on their own.
The violin played a melody I didn't recognize, one that wasn't mine.
The audience cheered, but a man in a dark coat sat grinning in the front row, and behind Leo, in the shadows of the stage, Ava watched.
My hands wouldn't stop. The violin forced me into a frenzied, impossible melody, one no human could play.
Sweat dripped down his face, his muscles burned. He wanted to stop, but the violin wouldn't let him. The music had claimed him.
Play forever. Play for him, join us.
The man in the dark coat leaned forward in the crowd, eyes gleaming. The whispers grew deafening. Leo gasped as the air ripped. His reflection in the polished violin twisted. Ava's face stared back. Then, with one final, haunting note, the lights flickered. The stage was empty.
The violin lay still, waiting for the next musician to pick it up.
Leo was gone. The theater was silent. The audience blinked in confusion. Where had Leo gone?
Backstage, a single mirror stood cracked.
In its reflection, Ava and Leo stared out, trapped, their fingers still playing.
The audience remained unaware of the fate that had befallen the musicians. Meanwhile, in the antique shop down the street, the shopkeeper dusted off a jet-black violin, placing it in the window. A small sign read, "For the Gifted." Outside, a young girl with dreams of greatness stopped, staring.
And somewhere in the shadows, the man in the dark coat smiled.
The young girl, Emily, couldn't look away from the violin in the shop window. It called to her, its polished black surface gleaming under the dim lights. She stepped inside. The shopkeeper smiled knowingly.
Go on, give it a try.
The moment Emily touched the violin, a shiver ran through her. It felt warm, alive. She raised it to her chin and played a single note. Perfection. The sound was haunting and beautiful beyond words. A masterpiece in a single stroke. She grinned. She would be a legend.
Outside, the man in the dark coat watched, listening. The cycle had begun again.
The cycle had begun again.
And far away in the endless void of the violin's curse, Ava and Leo screamed, unheard, unseen, still playing.
Unheard, unseen, still playing.
Still playing. Emily's fingers danced across the strings. The violin's melody consumed her. It was as if the instrument played through her, whispering secrets in every note.
The shopkeeper watched, his smile never fading. It chooses the worthy, he murmured.
That night, Emily's video went viral. Millions watched in awe. Invitations poured in. She was a prodigy overnight. But in her dreams, she saw them. Ava, Leo, other musicians before them, their faces twisted in agony, fingers still playing in a place of endless darkness.
Stop before it's too late.
Emily woke with a gasp, but when she reached for the violin to put it away, her hands moved on their own, and in the mirror, a new shadow watched her with hungry eyes. Emily couldn't stop playing. The violin's melody flowed from her fingers, each note more haunting than the last. She tried to pull away, but the music held her captive. The reflection in the mirror shifted. Ava and Leo stood behind her, their hollow eyes pleading.
Run!
But it was too late. The violin's song swelled, drowning out her screams. The strings burned beneath her fingertips. The shadows in the mirror reached out, and then, silence. The next morning, the violin sat in the antique shop window once again. A new sign read, "For the next prodigy." And on the empty street, a boy with a dream stopped staring. The boy, Nathan, felt an unexplainable pull toward the black violin in the shop window. The sign read, "For the next prodigy."
You have the hands of a true musician,
he said, placing the violin in Nathan's grip. The moment Nathan played his first note, a shiver ran through him. The sound was flawless, inhumanly perfect. That night he heard whispers.
Welcome, Nathan, play for us.
In his mirror, the shadows shifted. Ava, Leo, Emily, their fingers still playing in the abyss. Nathan stepped back in terror. Then, from the darkness, a new voice whispered.
No need to be afraid.
Nathan turned and froze. The man in the dark coat stood beside him, smiling.
You're special, Nathan. Unlike the others. You won't just play the music. You'll inherit it.
Nathan's heart pounded.
Inherit it?
The others were merely players, but you will be the composer.
Nathan felt the violin pulse in his hands. It no longer resisted him. Instead, it waited. For a moment, Nathan hesitated. Could he fight it? Could he stop the music? But then, a new voice rose above the others, his own.
Why should I?
The violin's strings glowed with eerie light. The abyss in the mirror swirled, shadows bowing before him. Nathan took a breath. Then he raised the bow and played a new song. The whispers fell silent. The trapped souls faded into darkness. And for the first time in centuries, the man in the dark coat laughed.
Nathan was no longer just a musician, he was the Maestro of Shadows. The violin had found its true master, and the world it would listen.
Thank you for listening. Like, share, comment, and click the subscribe button.